their opposites. And we're gonna see what the character would look like in the movie as their opposite. And let me tell you guys, it would change the movie completely. Here's how the process is gonna work. Let's use Mickey Mouse as an example. We will take each character and list out their 3 main attributes and their key colors. So if their attributes are kind, cute, and loyal, then the opposites would be mean, ugly, and disloyal. And if their key color was red, the opposite would be green. Then to see what the opposite character would look like, we will place the original character into my art robot, Craig. Load in the opposite attribute list and color, and Craig will print out the new opposite character. And just like the movie Frozen has a poster, we'll be making a poster with each of the opposite characters. And at the end of the video, we will see what the movie poster would look like with every character as their opposite selves. Let's start with the character Anna. So let's turn Anna into her opposite. My computer is now connected to Craig, my art robot. So according to Craig, Anna's first attribute is courageous, faces danger without fear, optimistic, believes things will get better, loyal, always stands by loved ones. And the color she is most seen in is purple. Now let's see what the opposite attributes and color is. Okay, Craig, show us. Cowardly, afraid to take risks, pessimistic, thinks the worst will happen, disloyal, betrays others when convenient. And her opposite color would be yellow. Okay, Craig, with these new attributes and color, make us Anna as her opposite. Guys, she's coming. Okay, so this is Anna as her opposite. Okay, as for cowardly, I can see that. Check. As for pessimistic, I can see that also. Check. And as for disloyal, yes, she looks very untrustworthy. Check. And she is wearing yellow, so it's perfect. So how would these opposite attributes change Anna in the movie? First, she'd be too scared to even go after Elsa, leaving Arendelle in permanent winter. Cowardly. Second, her constant negativity would drain any hope from the adventure. Pessimistic. And finally, she'd probably betray Elsa when things get tough, siding with Hans to save herself. Disloyal. The entire story would lose its heart and bravery. So that wraps up Anna. Now let's add her to the poster. This is looking so good so far. I cannot wait to see what the rest of the characters look like. Next is my personal favorite character, Olaf. Let's now turn Olaf into his opposite. What are the 3 main attributes of Olaf? So according to Craig, the first attribute is optimistic, sees the good in every situation, innocent, naive, and pure-hearted, funny, makes others laugh easily. And the color Olaf is seen in most is white. Now let's see what the opposite of these attributes and color is. His opposite attributes are pessimistic, expects things to go wrong, cynical, distrustful and doubtful, serious, focused, and humorless. And the opposite of white is black. Okay, Craig, using these new attributes and color, make Olaf as his opposite. Whoa. For his attributes, I can definitely see pessimistic, check, cynical, check, and serious, check. And he's black. How would each of these attributes change the character in the movie? First, he'd always talk about melting instead of loving summer, pessimistic. Then, he'd tell Anna their journey is pointless, like, yeah, this won't work, cynical. And in the end, when he's melting, he'd be like, well, it was doomed from the start, serious. Definitely not the fun Olaf we know. That wraps up Olaf. Now let's add him to the poster. Up next is the debatable cutest character in Frozen, Sven. Let's turn Sven into his opposite. So according to Craig, his first attribute is loyal, sticks by those he cares about, gentle, kind and tender, and expressive, shows emotions openly. And the color he is most seen in is purple. Now let's see what the opposite attributes and colors would be. Okay, Craig, show me. The first opposite is disloyal, abandons others when it gets tough, harsh, rough and unkind, unexpressive, hides or shows little emotion. And apparently the opposite of purple is yellow. With these new attributes and color, make us Sven as the opposite. You can do it, Craig. This is Sven as his opposite. And as for the 3 attributes, disloyal, he honestly looks like he's about to steal that apple. So yes. Harsh, he honestly could be masking his harshness because he wants to be a good thief and pretend like he's not stealing something. So I guess so. And unexpressive, he doesn't really have an expression on his face. So I guess you could say that's unexpressive. And his harness, which used to be purple, is now yellow. So that's perfect. Now let's see how these new attributes would change Sven in the movie. First, he wouldn't stick by Kristoff, abandoning him when things get tough. Disloyal. Second, he'd act harshly, making the journey colder and less fun. Harsh. And finally, without his usual expressive nature, he'd lose all his charm, becoming just another background character. Unexpressive. The bond between Kristoff and Sven would be totally broken. That's it for Sven. Now let's add him to the poster. Guys, this is looking so good. We have 3 more and I'm so excited. Next is Kristoff. Let's turn Kristoff into his opposite. According to Craig, Kristoff's first attribute is independent, self-reliant, and capable on his own, loyal, faithful to friends and companions, and practical, sensible, and down to earth. And the color he's most seen in is dark blue. Now let's see what the opposites are. Dependent, needs help from others. Disloyal, easily abandons others. Impractical, unwise, and unrealistic. And apparently the opposite of dark blue is light orange. Okay, Craig, with these new attributes and color, make Kristoff into his opposite. Guys, it's coming. Okay, so this is Kristoff as his opposite. As for the attributes, I can definitely see dependent because it looks like he's using a carriage instead of just carrying it by himself. Disloyal, I bet he stole those ice cubes. And impractical, look at the way he's carrying that. It obviously won't work, so. And then he is wearing an orange shirt, so it's perfect. How would these new attributes change Kristoff in the movie? First, he'd be totally reliant on others, unable to help Anna on his own, dependent. Second, he'd betray Anna when things got hard, ditching her for a safer option, disloyal. And finally, his bad decisions would constantly make things worse, slowing them down, impractical. The adventure would be a total mess with this version of Kristoff. That's it for Kristoff. Now let's add him to the poster. This is looking amazing. Next is Prince Hans. More like Prince Hot. I'm joking, he's awful. Let's turn Prince Hans into his opposite. According to Craig, Prince Hans' first attribute is charming, easily attracts and impresses others, manipulative, uses others for personal gain, and ambitious, driven to achieve goals. And the color he's most seen in is gray. Now let's see what the opposites would be. Unpleasant, disliked and hard to be around. Honest, speaks the truth and avoids deceit. Unambitious, lacks drive or motivation. And apparently the opposite of gray is red. Can you make Prince Hans as his opposite? Let's see if he's a Prince Hot or a Prince Not. This is Prince Hans as his opposite. As for the attributes, unpleasant, sure, he's not like hanging out with anybody and that could be unpleasant. Honest, he honestly looks like he would be very like honest and straightforward with you. And unambitious, yeah, he's not going out there or out of his way to like talk to anybody. And he is wearing red, so like that's a plus. How would these attributes change Prince Hans in the movie? First, his unpleasant personality would make him impossible to charm Anna, ruining his plan from the start. Unpleasant. Second, his honesty would reveal his intentions right away, so everyone would know he's not trustworthy. Honest. And finally, without any ambition, he wouldn't even bother trying to take over Arendelle. The whole villain plot would fall apart. They would catch him in like the first few seconds. That's it for Prince Hans, yeah, let's poster. That's it for Prince Hans. Let's add it to the poster. Guys, it's almost finished. One more. Next is Elsa. Let's turn Elsa into her opposite. According to Craig, her first attribute is powerful, strong and able to control her abilities, reserved, keeps to herself and avoids attention, determined, resolute in pursuing her goals. And the color she's most seen in is icy blue. Let's see what the opposites would be. Weak, lacks strength and control. Outgoing, social and enjoys the company of others. Indecisive, hesitant and unsure of what to do. And the opposite of icy blue is orange. Okay, Craig, using these new attributes and color, make us Elsa as her opposite. Guys, Elsa is coming. This is Elsa as her opposite. As for the attributes, I can see weak because who wouldn't be weak under that mass of dress, honestly. Outgoing, she looks like she's super happy and she's ready to meet some new people at the ball. Indecisive, she can't pick whether she wants to go to the left group or the right group. So yeah, I guess that's indecisive. And as for orange, she's wearing a huge orange dress, so that's perfect. Let's see how these new attributes would change Elsa in the movie. First, her weakness would make it impossible for her to control her powers, causing even more chaos. Weak. Second, being outgoing would make her less isolated, but also more vulnerable to manipulation. Outgoing. And finally, her indecisiveness would lead to constant hesitation, making it hard to protect herself or Annabelle. Indecisive. The story would completely fall apart. And now that we're finished with Elsa, let's complete the poster. And we didn't just make a digital version. We made a real version. Guys, it's beautiful.